Good morning. It's 12:38 right now. 38 in the morning. 12:38 in the morning, and election is already over. This is the midterm election in the Philippines. The elections of senatorial candidates and local candidates, except the presidency, because we only vote or elect a president every 6 years. So, as we notice, a lot of changes happened in the face of politics in most cities in Metro Manila. Probably most or a few. I'm not sure, but I actually look at some results of elections in a few cities in Metro Manila, for example, Pasig, Makati, Manila itself, Taguig, and so on, Las Piñas, and the result is not so much disappointing if you're into politics. Well, not partisan politics, but politics as a whole, because um, most of the, well, not really most, but some of the incumbents or the political clans, the trapos, or the dynasties as we call them, have been dethroned by newcomers. But that doesn't mean that it's gonna end dynastic politics in the Philippines or in the metro, because as we all know, the uh, long, or what do you call uh, the beginning of or the end of a dynasty simply means the beginning of a new one. Okay. um so we're not gonna expect so much when it comes to a new beginning in the metro. We're just talking about politics in the metro because we have this imperial Manila, where the the seat of government is situated. So this is the center, the epicenter of political power in the Philippines, because the Philippines is not a federal. Uh, it doesn't have a federal system. It's not a federal government in which um, it's states. For example, if we were a federal government, we would have states with independent power, taxation, and electoral system, etc. So we have a unified or um, centralized government system in which the political power is concentrated in the metro, as we call it. So we have a popular system as well when it comes to election or voting. So without too much ado, let's look at the election results. So let's start with the senatorial candidates. So Al Jazeera, for example. Okay, Al Jazeera, for example. I click on something. Uh, it's not that. What's going on with my cell phone? Al Jazeera, for example, described the midterm election in the country as a referendum on the Duterte administration. I disagree with that, but let me just park that aside or set that aside, and let me just talk about the local politics. So as we all see here are the senatorial candidates who top the initial counting, electronic counting, but out of 63 million, are you kidding me? So I learned earlier that the absentee voting totals like 1.2 million. So absentee voting are those overseas or outside the country who were willing to cast their vote, because despite the fact that they live uh, they live outside of the country, they still retain the right of suffrage. Okay, but the most interesting part is some mayoralty or top positions in some cities in the country. For example, in Manila. In Manila, let me start in Manila. Isko Moreno, actor, politician. He started as an actor, but he focused on politics later on. and he was a started as, I think, what do you call this, counselor, and then he rose through the ranks and became vice mayor, and then Estrada stole, the mayorship from Mayor Lim, who, who stepped down or decided to quit from being a senator and run as ran as a mayor. But of course, Estrada, who had some beef, was some conflict to settle with the mayor and the former Senator Lim, decided to run for the position in Manila to deprive Lim of the position. He got the mayor position, but then Isko Moreno, a Manilinian, he probably, according to what I heard, he was raised in Tondo, Manila, born and raised Manileño in Tondo, and was able to beat the Goliath of politics, not only in Manila or in Metro Manila, but also in the Philippines. Strada, who has family members in the Senate, was finally beaten by David, who is Isko Moreno. It's probably good news for those who love underdog politics, but mind you, probably it's gonna be the start of, Moreno dynasty. But I think he's a good guy. He's a good guy. Isko Moreno. And you can see his willingness to learn, the game of politics. He even had these crash course in UP, I think. So you can see the determination to learn, a lot more about leadership. And in Makati, Abi Binay was able to beat his brother, Junjun. I lived in Makati for years and then moved to Taguig. But then, when it comes to congressional position, where the hell is it? What's the name of that contender for mayorship last election? Kid Pena, Romulo Kid Pena, was able to beat the patriarch of the Binay family, Nognog Binay, the mayor, the vice president Binay, was finally beaten by Kid Pena, but probably by a few thousand votes, because based on what I've seen on Facebook earlier, Kid Pena was able to garner a total of 68,000 votes versus Mr. Binay's 62,000. And that's just in Makati, guys. That's just in Makati. And one more thing. So this is the news about Isko Moreno winning the mayoralty race in Manila. And Mr. Zamora was able to beat another dynasty in Metro Manila, the Ejercito dynasty. Strada was beaten in Manila, but one of his daughters was also beaten in their political turf in they call this oh my god, I'm not so really well versed when it comes to the cities in Metro Manila. I know that place. I know San Juan City. So is this gonna be the end of the Strata or Ejercito's rule in politics? I don't think so. The Ejercitos in and the Senate are still winning, based on what I've seen earlier. So they're still winning. So um, in San Juan City, according to this news from this GMA News Network, okay, Scamarino won in Manila, and oh, that's 331,000 votes. That's definitely a landslide. I never thought of that, guys, and I've never thought of that. That Isko Moreno was that popular. So they were just waiting for a David in politics in Metro Manila to beat Ejercito Estrada by over 100,000 votes. I'm shocked right now. I never thought that that's, the margin, or the distance when it comes to the lead between Moreno and Estrada. And Alfredo Lim was beaten. I didn't know that Mayor Lim ran as well for mayorship. And the Belmonte as well. And one thing in Pasig City, the son of Vico Sotto, son of Vic and Connie Reyes, I think, won the mayorship position and was able to beat the Eusebio family. Um, there's definitely the news is unfolding right now before our very eyes, so I need to individually search all these election personalities on Facebook or on Google, for example. So he's definitely won the position in Pasig City. So okay, they're now congratulating him, etc. That's the post on Facebook, but that's definitely the news right now. Vico Sotto has led or was leading Eusebio and Pasig for mayoral race. So he's the son of superstar Vic Soto and Conor Reyes. So it's not gonna be the end of the traditional political dynasties in Metro Manila. It's like gonna be the end of it. As we all know, we all love what they call this royalty when it comes to politics. We are Filipinos. We know that. I didn't vote, by the way. I didn't vote for this year's election because I wasn't able to register. So if you didn't vote, they say you don't have any right to complain at all because you forfeited your right to vote, your right of suffrage. So if you had a say during that election day, if you were able to cast your vote, then you would have the right to complain if you voted for the wrong person. But I don't think that's absolutely correct. As long as you're a taxpayer, you have the right to vote. But the thing about Philippine politics is that the majority of our voters are non-taxpayers, considering the train law that we have today. Only those earning 23,000, if I'm mistaken, 23,500 above are taxpayers. But with that in the Philippines, we are all taxpayers because as long as you buy things, as long as you purchase things, then you are technically a taxpayer because you are paying VAT or value added taxes. So, what else? Shall we go to national elections? Did I miss anything? Oh, Kid Pena, for example. The Eusebio was finally beaten. All this, including yeah, the Stratos or Ejercitos in San Juan, for example, in Pasig. Let's get to the national election. So as they say, as they say, or as Al Jazeera said earlier in one of its latest postings, this is gonna be a referendum on the Duterte administration. I totally disagree. We are not like United States politics, in which there are two major parties vying for political power. As we all know in our national politics, whoever rules the Malacanang Palace, whoever sits at the Malacanang Palace, is going to rule everyone. We have seen that during the Arroyo administration, in which Arroyo was able to, or did unscrupulously, um, what do you call this, distributed shopping bags with 500,000 pesos in them to bribe lawmakers. So regardless of whether you don't have majority, your party, which is a ruling party, a PDP, Laban, I think, Partido Democratic, something. I'm not really into these, parties, because these parties are like street lights. They change anytime, anytime. Okay, you can change party affiliation anytime in the Philippines because we don't have a two-party system. So all these senatorial candidates can be bought, can be bribed by whoever is sitting at the Malacanang Palace. Whoever is the president can definitely use his largest power, his power of power to buy or to bribe, in order to get his recommended or proposed laws passed and approved and voted on by members of the Congress and of the Senate as well. So that's the one of the downsides of our national system. We are not a federal system in which each state votes for the presidency. During election time, it's not actually the people voting for the president. We can say that that would have been a referendum if it were not for our torn cotism in politics. As I said earlier, this politician can change party affiliation anytime because they can be bribed. All these guys here love money. So here are the leading contenders for senatorial position. Cynthia Villar. The Villars are actually gaining and have been trying to establish political dynasty in Las Piñas and have been extending nationally, as we've seen over the past years. And Villar, Cynthia Villar, the wife of Manny, is now senator. It's gonna be her second term, I think. And Grace Bow, it's gonna be her last term as senator, and on second spot. Bongo, Bongo. I don't know him, but he is a party mate of the President Duterte, Pia Cayetano, from Nationalist Party. She's part of the top 10, and Bato de la Rosa, the president's general, okay, was able to make it, but nobody knows. It can change anytime. Let's give it a few hours. Edgardo Angara, Amy Marcos was able to make it, and actor Lito Lapid is, well, thanks to Ang Provinciano for this success he has in politics this year, and Nancy Binay, Tolentino, Francis Tolentino, etc. All I'm saying here is whoever is the president can definitely influence members of the Senate and of the Congress, because you know it's not like America. In the United States, parties party affiliation is so much stronger than money. Okay, and as we've seen in the news, for example, Donald Trump lost the uh, Congress last midterm election, and because of that, he's being threatened with impeachment, and his Attorney General William Barr, for example, is also being threatened with contempt. So they have the power of the legislature now, the as we call it, the lower house in the Philippines. But now that they have the Congress, they have the subpoena power, and the Democrats. Okay, the Democrats, for example, have been threatening to subpoena Trump officials, Trump appointees, uh, to testify before Congress for uh, the Russian collusion. If you are to compare that with what we have in the Philippines, we don't have that type of system, because our lawmakers don't have the backbone to stand to President Duterte. They don't have the enough spine to fight. Okay, because we don't have this strong party system, and well, whoever wins the mayorship in each town in Metro Manila, I don't think that would probably start big change. But as the good thing is that we were able to cast our votes. For those who were able to cast their votes, well, good for you. And good thing is a lot of changes have happened in some cities in Metro Manila. The downfall, for example, of the stratas or ejércitos in in Manila and in San Juan, it's like a conquering, dictator. uh, Mayor Joseph Estrada, an Attila who was finally beaten by a David in politics, Isko Moreno. Who would ever thought that Isko Moreno would beat a former president of the Philippines, the Erap ng masa, Erap para sa mahirap, as he campaigned a few years ago, or more than 10 years ago. um, was finally beaten by a local politician in Manila, and that's gonna be the start, probably, of change in Manila. Um, as they say, if you're a foreigner, don't go to Manila. Go to the Gig City or Makati, or try going north and south to see the beaches in the Philippines. Don't go to Manila because you would get depressed by the slums in Manila. Probably it's gonna change. But our politics is the bad thing about the mindset of Filipinos when it comes to politics is that most Filipinos think that the solution depends on politicians. It's not actually the case. It's gonna start within us. The only solution to our economic problem is, of course, economics. It cannot be resolved by simply passing so much laws. We're not a socialist dictatorship. The only way we can improve our economy is to focus on economics, is to open our markets to foreign investors, to attract competition in the telecom industry, for example. More competition means better quality of wages, better quality of products, and more jobs for Filipinos, and that's what Singapore, that's what South Korea, that's what Japan, that's what all these economic tigers in Asia did over the past 20 years. That's what China did. China opened its economy in 1979 to foreign investors. But the thing about our uh, educational system is that we are being taught by these professors, by these teachers in state colleges, universities, that the only solution to our problem is more government. That's absolutely incorrect. That's absolutely immoral, I must say. The solution to our government, to our poverty, to our problem is not killing drug addicts. I don't do drugs, but the solution is more freedom, more economic freedom for our country. That's gonna be it. But uh, it's gonna be an intellectual revolution. It's gonna take an intellectual revolution to change our mindset. It's gonna start from within. It's gonna start with an ideological, intellectual revolution. It doesn't mean that by intellectual I don't mean you need to be college graduate. No, that is elitism. That's elite mentality. You don't have to be a college graduate or to be a graduate of the top universities in the country to have this intellectual mindset. What I mean is having the right ideas, like the Renaissance in the 1800s, like the intellectual revolution that happened in the US or in Europe during those ages or eras, because that intellectual revolution is spawned or um, led to industrial revolution as well. So it started with politics, started with having the right idea, and the US started with having the right philosophy in politics, with empowering empowering property, empowering the rights of the people, and everything follows. If we're going to focus more on the right ideas, what will make our country great? It's going to start with economics, by having more players in our economic system. More players mean more opportunities for everybody. Okay, don't be like a socialist that we need to have more socialism and we need to have the government impose more rules and politics on us. It's not gonna solve the problem. It's gonna even aggravate the problem that we have today. But that's gonna be my rant for today. And for those who want uh, some political positions in the provinces and in the cities, congratulations, good for you. For the senators still waiting for good luck today and this morning, you need more luck. But our country definitely needs more luck. Okay, and have a great day.